Sony's already announced, and everybody I think knows, that we are getting multiple spin-offs off of Spider-Man's Spider-Verse series, but the series is supposed to end with Spider-Verse 3, aka Beyond the Spider-Verse. But it sounds like Sony might have some other plans if that film is a big success. Looking at how successful Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is, and the excitement for Beyond the Spider-Verse, it makes sense that Sony is very happy with what's happening, especially when it comes to the reception from fans and critics, which at the same time is over there blasting their live-action offerings that they're doing standalone. So in a recent interview with E.T., the producer, Chris Miller, was asked about a sequel to Beyond the Spider-Verse and whether that film is an official ending. And he said something interesting that does not match up with what was said before. Previously, when talking about Spider-Verse 1 leading up to that film, they said they envision a trilogy if they can get to it, and that will be it. The tone now is, and I quote, "It is the end of Miles Morales' trilogy." And so this whole thing is working towards that, end quote. Now, obviously, it's shifted to, well, Miles' trilogy is going to be wrapped up, but we're open to more. And elsewhere in this interview, as they continue talking, he talks about how they're looking at this trilogy as a beginning, middle, and an end, but potentially ripe for spin-offs, side stories, and other stories that can spin off of it, focusing on other versions of Spider-Man and other characters that are within this universe that we've already followed. So they're not outright ruling out Spider-Verse 4, he goes on to say, but the story was envisioned as a trilogy, and that's how they're treating it. So realistically, I think you kind of look at this sort of in a, and I hate to compare it to this, but it's the best way to do it, The Matrix. And I'm not saying that Spider-Verse is as bad as The Matrix as it keeps going. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is, that was always supposed to be one, and then it was so successful, they're like, well, we'll make it a trilogy. And then sometimes later, they're like, well, we want to get paid more and make more money, so let's make a fourth one. Is the fourth one good? I'll let you decide. I wasn't really the biggest fan of it, but I can see what they're doing here. If the third one makes a lot of money, which it probably will, there will be discussions whether or not a fourth one is worth it. And I think somebody will definitely push for it, and who knows what happens. But I'm glad that a trilogy will end Miles' story as a whole.